Nvidia has announced plans to make AI supercomputers in the United States for the first time ever. So, how will this shake up the global tech industry? I'm Veronica Dudo. Let's find out.
This is In America Today from the Ticker News Studios in New York City.
In a major shift for the tech industry, Nvidia has announced plans to build its AI supercomputers entirely in the United States for the first time. The chip maker says it will manufacture up to $500 billion worth of AI infrastructure on U.S. soil over the next 4 years. The move comes as President Trump's new tariff policy places steep taxes on imports from Taiwan and China, where Nvidia and other tech giants have long relied on manufacturing. The CEO says the decision will strengthen the company's supply chain and improve its ability to meet soaring demand for AI chips. For more, I'm joined by Philip Shoemaker, the founder of Identity.com. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So first, let's begin with how significant do you think NVIDIA's announcement to shift AI supercomputer production to the U.S. really is?
I think overall for the industry, this is a very big decision, and it's very good for the country, right? Something we learned during the COVID pandemic is that we need more manufacturing in the States to be able to help stop these supply chain disruptions. And look, given geopolitical tensions right now, it's good for us to own a lot more of this. Now, with AI in particular, I think I'm really worried about the trust and the supply in the supply chain, making sure that no bad actors can get their hands on these AI chips before we do, et cetera. So I think overall, this is a very good move.
What impact will this move have on America's position in the global tech and AI race?
Yeah, I think this kind of move will help increase our position in this AI race. This is one of those things that we have so much reliance on Taiwan and China in building these chips and building these technologies that we need to bring more on site in-house for us to be able to better control this industry. I'll tell you, one of the things that has always made me nervous is that we host and build all these processors and these entire devices in foreign countries where a foreign bad actor could potentially inject code, inject hardware into something that can make things a little more problematic for us. And I think overall, this is just going to accelerate and help launch us into the front line of the AI race.
Do you think the new tariffs influence NVIDIA's decision to bring manufacturing stateside?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. There's no way they would have done this without a push, at least by the president, or these tariffs. This is one of those things that we see in this space, that people want to fix some of these problems, but they're required by their shareholders to continue watching the bottom line rather than trying to make a good decision, put their best foot forward in something like security and safety and that kind of space. So I believe the tariffs are exactly the excuse that NVIDIA and other companies need to bring more manufacturing on site.
Could other tech companies follow NVIDIA's lead and bring production to the United States?
I don't see why not. I think, if you look at Intel already has a large presence in Arizona, building all their processors, et cetera. And NVIDIA is doing the same thing. And I think everybody else is going to follow suit over time. TSMC has already done that or has already pledged commitment to do that, as well as others. So I think it's a slide that's starting to happen, and we're going to see this all across the board. But look, there's a big problem there. We don't have the resources, et cetera. So I think it's going to be a little slower than we want, but I think ultimately it will happen significantly.
Now, the company has said that it already started production of Blackwell chips at the TSMC's chip plant in Phoenix, as well as that they have plans to build 2 supercomputer manufacturing plants in Texas, one with Foxconn in Houston and another with Wistron in Dallas. What kinds of jobs or economic activity might this bring to the U.S. over the next 4 years?
Well, I think one of the things that we've lost sight of, right? I mean, we were the place where all this was done so many years ago, and we've lost a lot of talent in the prefab, the clean room, and those kind of positions. Look, they're highly technical, but they're also highly physical as well. So I'd say that those types of jobs are going to be coming here. They're not inexpensive jobs. They're going to be expensive to fill, but it will bring a lot of jobs to these new manufacturing plants as a way to help bring more people in. I think it's going to be highly skilled laborers, and it's going to be expensive roles, and it will jack up the price of devices for sure. But I think it's necessary in order for us to control the flow of our supply chain.
Now, with Nvidia relying heavily on partners like the TSMC, how realistic do you think it is to fully decouple from Taiwan and China?
Well, that's going to be a long road, right? I think it is realistic to do so, but we're not looking at 1 to 4 years. We're looking at 5 to 10 years to be able to completely decouple our reliance on countries like Taiwan and China. It's just a significant inflow. It's not, again, we can build these plants, we can build all this hardware that we need to manufacture. It's going to be all about the talent, getting the talent in, because that's talent that we lost years ago. They can steal from Intel that has a lot of that talent, but then you're just robbing Peter to pay Paul. So we need to be able to help build more of these and train more of these folks. So again, it's about a 5 to 10 years minimum.
Is this the beginning of a broader trend of tech companies rethinking globalization in favor of national resilience?
I'd like to think that that is the case. We can't fool ourselves into thinking that this is done because people want America first and they want to be able to put the country first and control the supply chain and make it more safe. This is about the bottom line. This is all about the bottom line. And the question is, if when the next president comes on board, will these tariffs get reversed? And will these geopolitical tensions just have the seesaw effect of us going back and forth based on, do we manufacture here? Do we manufacture across the pond? I am worried that this will happen, but I think the right thing to do, especially in the AI space, which is a very tight race, and AI is going to be used for all kinds of things, including supporting the defense of our country. So these kind of things need to be put first. But I think it's going to be a decision that's made largely upon the bottom line and whether the tariffs are here or there.
And finally, what challenges do you think NVIDIA might face when they're trying to build their $500 billion worth of AI infrastructure domestically?
Well, I think the biggest thing is if these tariffs hold, they're going to have a problem with getting the parts that they need and getting the staff that they need. And honestly, building these manufacturing sites, they need to deal with a lot of regulations there, a lot of waste disposal, et cetera. I think there's a long road ahead of them for that. And it's going to be difficult if they don't have presidential support. And I think they will get that from our existing president. But if that changes, because these things take years and years to build, that's going to become a big problem for them.
Philip Shoemaker, the founder of Identity.com, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
This is Ticker. We'll be right back.